And welcome up on stage, Heiko Hebig from Facebook. Come on up here. I think we'll sit over here. So, Heiko, welcome to Stockholm and the SIME stage.
Thank you.
Last time you were here was many years ago, and then you were an executive with a large media company. Now you are with another large media company, Facebook.
It's been fun. It's been a fun ride, and I think I joined Facebook about half a year ago, and none of the days has been predictive. And there are so many things changing on a daily basis, both good and sometimes bad. You know, it's just that it's just never boring. You know, and I think that's just very it's fun. Great ride.
What are some of the things that excite you most in Facebook right now?
Well, I mean, if you just think about the scale at which we do things, right? As you know, and you just said it, 1 billion users actually, and most of them, roughly 550 million connecting every day. More than 600 million being connected on mobile devices. 120 being connected on mobile only. So they never see the desktop, they never use the desktop, they use the mobile to register on Facebook, and then they use Facebook exclusively on the mobile. I think there's just a massive scale that has many technology challenges, many business challenges, and many challenges on a one-to-one basis, right? People that are just not used to be communicating on a personal level on devices, etc. So I mean, the work is just never ending, and we are still a pretty small company if you think about it.
How many are you?
Roughly 4,000 people. So that's, if you compare it to Google, it's a fairly small company with a fairly large footprint, and that is just like a tremendous ride.
So do you have like an ethics department or sort of a department of fair play or something? How can you sort of, I mean, you must break up so many relationships because people are jealous on Facebook, or there must be so many bullies, or there must be so many good things happening and bad things. And what is your sort of role in all of that?
Well, we try to step back as much as we can. We provide a platform for connections to happen, both on a personal level and for businesses. So if there's complaints, obviously you can reach us. You can fill out a form or talk to me or anyone, and we try to solve it. And there's a policy department that takes care of the stuff that's maybe a bit more nasty, like I don't know, copyright infringement, hacking into user accounts. I mean, all the stuff that happens across the globe. If you connect 550 million people on a daily basis, there's all kinds of stuff happening, both good and bad, and we try to help where we can.
What are the biggest opportunities for companies?
Well, I think, again, if you just look at the mobile side of things, and if you look at how mobile ready your business is already, I mean, Google just said it, many businesses are actually not really mobile ready yet. They realize this, but they're not quite there. All the users have the smartphones in the pockets. I listened to a great presentation from BuzzFeed yesterday, and they said that there's actually 2 networks that are much larger than Facebook, and that's people bored at work and people bored waiting in line or at a shop or something. So, I mean, if you want to cater to these huge networks, people bored at work or waiting, using Facebook actually to reach those people is actually one pretty feasible way. Because what do the people have in their pockets? Mobile phones. What do they want? Entertainment, connections. They want to connect to stuff that matters to them. Facebook is right there. So businesses could use that, push me relevant information, relevant content, and I think that's a great opportunity.
Rickard said that, if you're in a deep social moment, you're hanging out with your kids, you don't want to see Pampers ads. What is your response to that? Is the context stronger or weaker in a social context than it is in sort of other advertising context?
Well, I mean, it's not a super secret, I think, revelation if I'm going to tell you that I sometimes use Google Mail for personal mail, and I think there's ads there. Not Pampers ads, because I don't have a kid, but relevant ads in Google Mail. And maybe 10 years ago we would have said, oh, but mail and advertising, that would never work. And Google does it, and they have advertising in Google Mail. So I think as long as the advertising is relevant, I think there's, I mean, at Facebook we always say the journey is only 1% finished. We have just started. The company is only 8 years old. We're just at the beginning. We always try to test new things. We admit if we make mistakes. We watch user engagement closely. If user engagement goes up, we've been doing something right. If user engagement goes down, we change stuff. And we sometimes break stuff.
Are there any places in the world where it's like, no, we tried it, we don't like it, we're not social, or is it a human need to be on a social network?
Well, I think we're all social, but all in a very different way. I think, I mean, I'm German, so I think Germans, for instance, they just are I wouldn't say obsessed, but privacy is just at the core of the German culture. And that's both on a personal level and also on a corporate level. So when I go into many meetings in Germany, I typically don't meet like product people first, but lawyers. And they want to discuss data privacy and what we do and how we protect data, etc. That's very, very different in Scandinavia. Yeah. That's very different in Holland. That's very different in Poland. That's just, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that's just the way that people are in Germany. And so Germans being social on a very different level than in Scandinavia, where I think people are more open, and then there's always like this implied. I mean, if you look at Brazil, where people just go crazy collecting friendships on Facebook or pretty much any social network, right? It started with Orkut. You see the same now on Facebook and other networks.
So as many friends
as many friends as possible, and that's what you brag about, how many friends you have on a given social network. In Germany, that wouldn't be like that, right? No, you have close friends and maybe like 50 or something, but that's really it. Hundreds of friends, to many Germans, that's unthinkable, So I think, what social really means is very different. And we want to be a platform. We want to give tools to people to connect. And then how you use it, that's really your daily business, and that's up to you.
But how do you think this will evolve? I mean, it's evolved extremely rapidly during 8 years. It's really changed the world completely. Obama probably wouldn't have won the elections without Facebook.
Maybe.
And there's a lot of things happening because of social media. How do you think it will evolve? You're at 1% now. What happens when you're at 50% or at 90%?
I think it's very difficult to look into the future. I think it's just awesome if you look at what's happening already. I mean, just yesterday, because I was bored waiting for a plane, I watched Steve Jobs' keynote again of him launching and introducing the iPhone. And he said, well, we're not going to use a stylus, we're going to use our finger. And what we're going to do with the finger is we're going to scroll through contacts. And people in the audience, they like cheered and like, woo, scroll with the finger. That was 2007, right? Now we just take that for granted, and it's just so unreal to watch that reaction of like people seeing the iPhone for the very first time. So I think that the one thing that teaches us is that it's so difficult to predict the future. I just don't want to go into that business, So and just like what could happen, I don't know. If we just know that, I mean, especially in Scandinavia and Sweden and the Nordics, I mean, people have always been like technology friendly. Many mobile innovations came out of these regions. Like people were really like into using mobile devices for a long time. I mean, now seeing this spread across the globe, and seeing now the first generations of users that never touch a desktop computer and always on mobile, I think this just opens up the world for so many opportunities, and it's up to us really to shape this. That's, I think, the most exciting thing.
A lot of people speak about adjacent business opportunities. If there's apps, there could be an Angry Birds. If there's Facebook, there could be a Zynga and lots of games. What do you think are some of the new businesses that can be built on top of Facebook? Do you see e-commerce becoming a big thing? You're going to go into gambling maybe, or TV, or how do you see that evolving? Credit cards?
Yeah, again, we just want to be like a platform. So it's really up to like everyone to look at what platform does and how platform can be used to reach individual goals. And I mean, the one thing that I say, and that's not really an answer to your question, but that's really like a takeaway that I want to make sure many people get when I meet them. It's like if you build a crappy experience and if your business just doesn't work right, like adding a Facebook login button or really any social network login button, it's not going to help your business much. If you have a crappy experience, adding social on top, will not make a crappy app great. So if you don't bake social into your experience, I think no matter how hard you try, you're going to be, I wouldn't say failing, but you're going to be like, you're going to have a hard time, because many young and innovative people now get this from their heart. They know how social works, they know how viral loops work, and they bake that into the core of the product. And if you look at like many of the apps, especially also from the region, like Vivino from Copenhagen, discovering cool wines for wine lovers. So if you look at Rap here from Stockholm, or if you look from Kiosk, turning like out of Helsinki, turning anything that can be purchased into like a shareable item on Facebook. If, you know, so many great examples. We wouldn't think of this, we couldn't think of this. We just want to make sure that whoever uses Facebook can connect to these businesses and can provide identity and sharing capabilities, and, you know, helping push the message that, you know, we're just a small building block in this world, really.
And what do you think? Who are great? Who could we look at to learn? Is it like the Red Bulls of the world, or who are sort of inspirations?
I think fast-moving technology companies are always great to learn from. That's not just because Facebook is one, but because, you know, if you look at the technology space, you need to realize that the world is probably moving much faster than you would like it to move. I have many, you know, company meetings where there's a series of meetings, and then at the end of the sixth meeting, they're going to like introduce like a like button or something. And, you know, that's like the world is changing faster than this. So, you know, experiment, learn from it, keep on measuring engagement, interactions, do good things and talk about it. You know, don't just, you know, launch something and wait for the world to discover it. You know, talk about it and make the users of your service, make, you know, customers into your advocates, and bake that into your product. And all these companies that do a great job at that, I think those are the ones to learn from. And I mean, I come from, as you know, like big media background, and big media, I think, to a great extent, has not learned yet that, you know, there's technology at its core if you want to succeed on the internet, and then there's social. And big media is right in the middle. They have content. So in order to make content discoverable, you need to be great in technology, and you need to be thinking, I wouldn't say technology first, but it needs to be on par. And you need to bake social into your message. So if you don't do that, I mean, always ask yourself, like, would you yourself share something? And if you look at something and you go like, nah, I wouldn't share this, others probably wouldn't share this either, you know? So always ask yourself, would you share this? What's the use? How can you be better? Keep on measuring, and, you know, understand technology, you know, and I think that's the key message.
So what do you say to everybody that is afraid that you're going to own all the data about everyone and control the social graphs and so forth? People that are worried about that, what's your response?
I mean, it's always up to the user on what type of data to share. There's all kinds of sets of permissions that an app developer can ask for, but it's really the user who says, I want to share this. And there's lots of granularity baked into the system. So the user really controls the data. Facebook doesn't control it. It's our users. Developers can ask for it, but we typically say don't ask for too many permissions, because users typically won't give them to you. No. Not in Germany, especially, no, but not in other markets either. So, you know, be sensitive. Make sure that there's a value associated when you ask for permission for data. You know, make sure you give something back. Don't just collect your users' data, but, you know, give value back, and then maybe people will give permission to share. And, you know, it's really up to the developer to decide that. We are just enabling these types of businesses to succeed.
So if you're going to be here at SIME, what kind of meetings are you interested in? What kind of companies and people do you find interesting to meet? What are you on the lookout for?
Well, I think it's really two things. It's early stage companies that have maybe like heard about Open Graph or want to get a better grasp of Open Graph. You know, talk to me, approach me. We can certainly help you. I mean, there's tons of documentation online, but, you know, there's tweaks and there's things, you know, that if you don't have lots of experience building this, you know, there can be, you know, some I wouldn't say pitfalls, but as I said, like, making a great product social doesn't work if you don't have social baked into your product. So in early stages, we can, I think, really help and give advice. And then, later stage companies, if you have maybe Facebook login and you want to be more advanced and you want to get into the more, technical nitty-gritty stuff, I can also help and provide resources. My email is pretty easy. It's heiko@fb.com. Either email me or talk to me. I'm going to be here all day. So across all the like different stages of companies, we love technology companies. If you're not technology driven, we can help you, and we can help you leverage what you have. So we're here to reach out and talk to everyone who's interested.
Thank you very much, Heiko, and hope to see much more of Facebook here as you progress from 1% to 100% of your potential.
Thank you, Ola.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.